Welcome back to another episode. This one's not necessarily scheduled, but I had something really interesting happen yesterday. I enjoy it when people tell me about if they're paying attention and if anything is resonating with them. And there was a very interesting one where I'm not going to say names, obviously, privacy. He shoots me a message. I've been doing these videos on social media where it's just me working out with like a little quote, and it's usually something stoic. I think that those can be powerful just to constantly remind yourself. Not that you always have to have a mantra, but it is important. And the quote was, I will focus my energy on what I can influence. And that can mean so many different things. I just think it's cool, and that's kind of my mindset right now. I'm controlling what I can control. It's very important in Stoicism. That almost is the definition of Stoicism. And we all carry heavy things. And so he shoots me a message, again, out of the blue. It's someone who I know from some of the gyms I used to work at. And he just says, hey, I'm going through a bit of heartbreak right now. And he sends me that video, but he just says in general, your videos are helping me kind of get through and reminding me of what I need to focus on. Because of this heartbreak, I've kind of lost focus with the things that are important to me, including the gym. I know he's a family man, so probably his family too, and probably the gym as well. Obviously, I say some kind words back. And I was like, that's a really cool podcast topic, is like heartbreak and grief and how important the gym can be to get through those processes. So that struck a chord with me. And I think that we do need to have that conversation on heartbreak, on loss, on grief. And something as simple as the gym can just be transformational in those moments, right? Heartbreak isn't just the idea of that feeling. It is real. There is actual physical pain. Parts of the brain light up in response to that emotional pain. And certain regions of the brain kind of process it like you have a cut or you have a burn. And so you're actually going through pain. And pain is a very interesting fuel, especially emotional pain. You can use it to fuel your fire within and come back stronger. I've had to do that many times. I'm sure you've had to do that many times. Or pain can debilitate you, where now you feel like you can't do anything. And no matter what, you're going to be feeling the pain. So let's get through it. Easier said than done, of course. Everyone can go through very different amounts of emotional pain, especially when dealing with a heartbreak, right? Breakups can cause symptoms like tightness in your chest, headaches, nausea, exhaustion, anxiety, depression, right? Lack of appetite, improper sleep, not a normal sleep schedule is probably more accurate, whether you have insomnia, but then you're also tired during the day. And the mind and body are deeply connected. So I felt that before. Again, I'm not perfect. Obviously, I've been broken up with before. More than once, more than twice. And it sucks, right? It's a great learning lesson. And you learn to get through it. And then next time it's not as bad. Next time it's not as bad. Then you let your guard down. And then that time, oof, I really feel it because I put up these walls. Right? I've experienced rejection before. I've experienced pain of someone not choosing me. And that's okay. Right? It's a normal pain and you will get through it. And I accept that not everybody is going to be with everybody because, well, there's only a few people who you probably are compatible with. And it goes both ways. You've probably broken people's hearts before too and not even felt anything because you just don't even know better. It's important to recognize, obviously, that you're not alone dealing with this pain. Millions and millions of people, if not maybe billions, walk this earth with pain from wounds, loss, grief. And it doesn't always have to be heartbreak. There's so many different kinds of grief, but obviously your brain, it does go with heartbreak. I think it'd be super cool to interview like a therapist or someone who deals with relationships and talk and get them to talk about that. And obviously then combining it, why the gym's important, right? Every tough breakup I've gone back through has brought in familiar waves of grief, and it's easy to let that pain dominate your life if you let it. And refocusing on working out is going to be key. There's a fork in the road. After your heartbreak, you can let that pain crush you and manifest and metastasize like a cancer, and it consume you, and you become bitter and dark. Or you can use it as harness for growth. You can focus on reading some good books. You can focus on spending some quality time with friends. You can refocus on your health. You can refocus on your family. And obviously, the gym is a great outlet that you can do solo, right? Every time I've been hurt, I try to reconnect and with myself and redirect all of that hurt and frustrations into something productive. It's not always about the gym. There's been times where it gets me back into reading the books that are very important to me, or journaling. Now it's podcasting, although I haven't been heartbroken in a bit. But again, refocusing on those things. There's this one girl that I dated in my early 20s. We only dated for a couple months. I really, really liked her. And she talked about how she loves to read books. And then I started to read books a little bit. And then, of course, she broke my heart, because if not, I'd still be with her. And that actually weirdly got me into reading. I'm like, well, if this works for her, maybe it works for me. And it weirdly rubbed off on me that now I consume a lot of books and podcasts, because there's a lot of good wisdom in that. And that's what I'm trying to now give back. So weirdly enough, that's probably one of the things that got me back into it. I think I also got a little bit into meditation at the time because of that. It fell off, and it's hard for me to meditate, although you can do things that are meditative like. And then now I know better. Anytime I've had a breakup, I know, okay, my appetite goes away. That's me. Other people, they need to eat to fill that void. For me, it's almost like I can't eat when I'm going through that. It's something in me. So that's actually when I do turn to a more palatable foods, comfort food, because it's hard for me to eat anyway. I could eat a whole large pizza right now, and I could destroy it. If I was heartbroken, it'd be hard for me to eat a whole large pizza. I'll still order it, because even cooking's hard, but I'll probably eat 2 or 3 slices and put it away for a while. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess I could go eat it again. And at least that's a way for me to keep some calories on. I even turned to Ensures for a little bit. Okay, yeah, going through some anxiety. Can't eat. Ensures some calories. It helps. There's some protein. It helps. And that's really key. And that's how I know. And I know that from trial and error. Even there was times in my early 20s, my mom would be like, you're not eating. Is everything okay? Like, she could pick up on that. Yeah, everything's fine, because I don't want to talk about, what I'm going through in the moment. And that's just how it works for me. Again, it's more likely actually that I can sometimes find it hard to go to the gym, but then when I do go to the gym and I start to get in that rhythm and groove, I think revenge abs. That was a mantra for a summer: revenge abs, revenge abs, revenge abs. I think one time I broke up with a girl. I broke up with her. I knew it wasn't going to last. I still liked her, but I just knew it wasn't going to last. I was even still a little heartbroken from it. I was like, okay, you're heartbroken from this breakup that you caused. You can channel that into the gym. At least you're going to look shredded for the summer. And that was like the games I was playing in my head, which I think was kind of funny. Maybe a little bit psycho. But that's just who I am. And that's kind of how I feel myself. And, if I wake up sore in the morning, it's a different kind of pain, at least one that makes me stronger. I've even looked through it as, okay, each time I've had to go through a breakup, it's changed me. It's made me stronger. It's made me better. And it's when I'm going through the grieving processes, of course. So the gym is a distraction, but it's not just a distraction. It's a very healthy release, although it can get too much at times. Physical activity triggers releases of endorphins in your brain, which just make you feel good. It's very rare, unless you way overdid it in a workout, and it takes a lot. It's kind of like The Price is Right. It's like the closer you get to the sweet spot, the better. And even then, you can go past the sweet spot a little bit, unlike The Price is Right, and not be overdone it. But it's very hard to overdo it in the gym when you're going to feel worse after, at least on a one-off sort of situation. And I think it's really important just to move. And it can be going for walks with your friends in nature. Turn off your phone. You don't need the social media. Block out that world. Go on a little vacation. That's not the reason I'm on this vacation. Taking a day trip can sometimes be really good. It gives you a perspective, especially, I would say, if you are You can do two things. I would say, actually, if I'm going to a museum, you can hyper focus on things in the museum, or if you're out in nature, you can have this wide gaze. I think both can be good for the brains for different perspectives. You go to an art museum and you just look and you look at the detail of sculptures and paintings, and you just try to find as much detail as you can. If it's a really big painting, you can still look back and just absorb it all. And then when you're out in nature, you can still hyper focus on certain things, but then I like to just take it all in. And I think both can be phenomenal. I hope this guy listens. I am going to send this to him. And, I hope you're doing good. I hope this is an interesting topic. And I'm not using your name. There's nothing that would incriminate you. But no, I do appreciate you telling me that. I find that interesting because I don't even know the impact that I have. I just assume only my mom listens to the show or looks at my social media. And anyway, I'll get back on topic. Things in the gym, it's structure. Even in the gym, if you're going through a heartbreak like that, you're probably better off putting your phone on airplane mode, listen to some music, and just kind of people gaze. Do a hard set, take a couple minute rest, and just people watch a little bit, and then go back to your set and then people watch. That's an important strategy as well. The gym also provides structure, which is really important to get into routine, especially when things are uncertain and chaotic. You had this vision for what the future was going to be with that said person, and now it's not there. Well, you need to start to establish a future of at least yourself. You can picture yourself getting stronger week after week, month after month, getting to the gym, focusing on your lifts, going for a run. And even if you create some kind of sense of achievement, like, you know what? Yeah, maybe I should train for that half marathon I've been thinking about, or that high rocks, or you know what? Maybe I'm going to hit some PBs on some squats and deadlifts. Maybe the small achievement is I'm just going to go to the gym for a half hour, hit the sauna, and then go home because I really don't want to be here, but it's been really good to go here. Over time, learning to withstand that physical discomfort on purpose. That's the key, on purpose, pushing through that last rep, forcing yourself to go for a run, teaching you about your own self-resilience. You'll learn how much stronger you are outside of the gym as well, right? You'll notice that emotional pain doesn't feel as intense, right? It's not gone, but it doesn't own you in the same way as it did before. And the gym can be a sanctuary for that, right? A place where for an hour or two, you control the environment, your effort, your growth, your mindset, right? Mindset and Stoicism and affirmations are one of the most powerful tools that you can use. And that's why I've been putting them on those reels. And so one of the most difficult parts about the heartbreak is the loss of control, right? You can't control another person's feelings and emotions and choices. I had to learn that when I was 16, when I was 21, when I was 23. And that's where Stoic philosophy comes in place. It's a code, it's a mantra. I will focus my energy on what I can influence. You can't control the breakup, right? But you can control what you do with the day. You might not be able to control how you feel, but you can control the inputs to how you feel. Yeah, I feel heartbroken, but I also feel like, you know what? I got a lot of stuff done today. I went to the gym, I went to the bank, I got to play with my kids, I read a good book, and those are things that I could control. I still feel like shit, but at least I didn't feel like shit as much in those moments. And so I think Pete Davidson actually does like a good job explaining this. I think on one of the interviews, he was talking about how, yeah, dude, I have depression, but I know I have depression. So I know I need to do all of these check boxes on my list to like get through the depression. And he kind of has like a little bit about it. And he does a good job making it like kind of funny, but it's very true, right? Stoicism teaches us to accept what the outside world is not in our control. However, inside our own world, it is a lot in our control, and we can pour energy into actions, attitudes, which is a great feeling. So again, value of affirmations. Words shape our mindset, your inner monologue. I've had negative inner monologue a lot in my teens and early 20s, and slowly but surely coming out of that. I was even telling my guy group chat, I'm like, hey, look what happened to me. Somebody reached out about this. Kind of cool, eh? Again, I didn't share names, don't worry. And my one buddy's like, oh, that reminds me of this quote. Funny enough, my one friend's been getting into the Bible a little bit. Shout out to Robbie. I know, Mom. Yeah. But I actually, he sends a lot of the quotes, and I kind of like them. So this was one of them. Romans 8:18. the pain that you have been feeling does not compare to the joy that is coming. I thought that was a really good one. And yeah, I know, coming from Robbie, right? He's changing. He's changing. Uh, my mom knows Robbie. Those are the only names I'm using here. Or anyone else who knows Robbie. It's like, yeah, like he's changing, and it's for the good. If I had heard that quote 10, 15 years ago, I think it would have helped a little bit. At least in the moment, maybe not right away, but you sit with it, you marinate in it a little bit, and it's like, okay, the pain that you have been feeling does not compare to the joy that is coming. And that's a great reframe, right? This reminds us, and it can hopefully remind you, that something better is possible and it is coming, even if you can't see it yet. And you just repeat these affirmations, right, while you're working out. That's where I think tattoos are kind of cool, because you can have a little reminder, whether it is a Bible verse or a quote or an affirmation. And you just constantly remind yourself over and over and over, and you can train the mind to, it's almost like a tattoo in your mind, right? To look ahead for hope and for strength, right? Rather than just focusing on the loss. So here's some actionable steps that you can take for using the gym healing, right? Non-negotiables with the gym. Bare minimum. If you don't want to schedule it in, that's fine. Just say, you know what, I'm going to get to the gym at least twice this week, even if it's me just walking on the treadmill, right? And that sense of routine helps build some normalcy. And then once you've done that, okay, I'm going to go 3 times a week, and I'm at least going to work out for 30 minutes lifting weights. Okay, I'm going to go 4 times a week and 45 minutes of lifting weights, right? Okay, you know what? This is a great time. I'm going to start an actual program now. It's been a couple weeks, right? Set some performance-based goals. Don't obsess over the appearance, although I like to use revenge abs as like a joke. I think a performance is good. Let's see how fast you can run a mile. And then in a couple weeks, let's see if we can beat that. Let's lift some heavier weights. Maybe learn a new exercise, because then you really have to focus on that exercise, like a Turkish get-up, a windmill, front levers, some calisthenics. You have to focus on body awareness. You can't think about the outside world in that moment. And focusing on that gives you growth, and it starts to build these small wins, which helps to build real confidence. And you can pair the mental with physical. You can listen to not just music, but podcast or Stoicism, motivational speaking. And again, it can be music that fires you up with your training too. And it becomes this holistic approach. Maybe it's a workout outside in the park when the weather's half decent, right? Like calisthenics, great for that, right? And track your progress, right? I work out today. I felt a little shitty before, but I actually felt better. This is what I did in my workout. And you journal. It's part of your journaling process. And then, over a couple weeks, just look back and you'll be really proud of how far you've come. You're like, you know what? I can do this, right? And you do have that instilled confidence, and you connect the dots and you see how far you can actually take it. And you know what? Connect to others. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I know it's not like we're super close or anything, but like, I think that's really neat. I think that's really cool. And it gives me more confidence that the stuff I'm doing does at least resonate with more people than what I'm maybe giving myself credit for. And connecting with others at the gym. I think that's where community and connection, jokingly, don't try to date someone right away at the gym. But that's where I think some group classes can be great. A group yoga class, you have a sense of community. Go to an F45, go to a CrossFit. I know I shit on those sometimes, but like that can be really good when you're going through that. The tough thing is you don't want to date somebody in that community, at least not right away, because then if you break up, it's really tough. I've seen that before at gyms where people shit where they eat. So I have a personal rule to try to avoid where I shit where I eat. If I'm working out at, let's say, just a regular open gym, that's very different than like an F45 style where it's class-based and everyone shows up at the same time. A little bit different. So, there's a line between using the gym as therapy and letting it become another obsession. So again, if you're avoiding real emotions, right, by spending hours at the gym, skipping responsibilities, ignoring pain and injuries, maybe you do need to take a step back. Just remember that. That's a word of caution. And remember, healing also happens when you're resting. So allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to reflect a little bit. Don't ruminate too much, but just reflect, right? Give yourself permission to process, right? And not just running from it, but I think the gym can be a powerful tool. And I think action is a great antidote, right? And it's not the entire solution, but I do believe in the gym in holistic healing in so many different ways, right? I think heartbreak can be the beginning of a new chapter. And that's so cliche, but it is the end of another one. And so you do have to realize that there is going to be pain there, but there is pain for growth. right? Focus your energy on what you can influence, focus on what you can control, right? You can't control other people. Trust me, I've tried. Even as a trainer, they pay me to control them, quote unquote, and yet it's still really hard to control them. You can influence at best. But taking the next right action for yourself is key. Again, focusing on your health is always a net positive. On health, don't take it to the obsession. Move your body, strengthen your mindset, read a book, right? Have some gratitude. What are you grateful for right now? That's a great strategy for you, right? I'm grateful that people are getting value of what I'm putting out there, right? Your greatest joy is ahead, even if it feels dark right now. Again, keep in mind, you're not alone. We're all out here. We're all struggling. We're all just trying to do our best. So until next time.